Welcome back. Time is 9:15 on the Talk of the Town with Dave, Jay, and Sam. And our weather forecast, according to Jill Reel, another great one today. Look outside. It's fantastic. Going to be mid-80s today. Great weather again tomorrow. A little bit of rain perhaps Saturday night going into Sunday morning, but then clearing out for Sunday and a chillier day on Sunday, more like fall for the Buffalo Bills game that Sam is going to attend. Right now, welcoming our next guest, a guy with a very deep voice. I just met him, Kevin Revere. Kevin, say hi.
Hello, everybody.
Look at that. I wish I had that voice, Jay.
Kevin, you looked at me. He was talking about you. It wasn't. Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
Well, it's not that good morning. I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan.
Right. Sorry about Jamal Charles last night.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, they blew that one, didn't they?
Peyton Manning is a miracle worker, and the Chiefs, typical. I've been a Chiefs fan a very long time, and true to form, they choked.
Now, why have you been a Chiefs fan?
I went to school out in Missouri near Kansas City, so I adopted them when I was out there, and I've been disappointed for 20-some-odd years.
Do you go back to the Len Dawson days of the Chiefs, or not quite that far back?
Not that far back,
yeah.
But, they did it again to me.
Yeah. But Andy Reid's a good coach. He's turned things around.
He is.
There.
I wish that the players would inherit Andy Reid's sort of arrogance and attitude things. They fold under pressure, and they were under pressure last night.
Yeah. The stadium there, Arrowhead Stadium, has set the Guinness record for the loudest stadium, and I know the Buffalo Bills are going to try and shatter that record this weekend at Ralph Wilson Stadium.
Yes, so the Chiefs fans do that because they're usually crying and wailing.
Well, so you may lose.
Not again!
You may lose twice this weekend. Last night's game, and you may lose the Guinness record to Buffalo Bills fans too.
Well,
sorry in advance, Kevin.
There's always next week. We'll see.
Well, you're a winner this morning because you're sitting next to Beth Iron's fantastic treats that she brought in. So
yes, I'm going to grab some on the way out.
But Kevin, you are in as the Director of Emergency Services at the 911 Center and part of the Stop DWI program, Office of Fire Coordinator in Oriskany. So Dave and I and Samantha have been talking all this week about stressful jobs, and the Business Insider list has emergency dispatcher at number 1, and another point I brought up about that, number 2, 3, and some of the other folks on the list, maybe not as stressful jobs, but they make a heck of a lot more money than some of the folks that are emergency service dispatchers, and they obviously put up with a lot and a lot of stress. And some of the calls that you sent for us to play here this morning, we have, and we will do that. So you can give us a little bit of background, maybe rundown, and what folks deal with on a day-to-day.
And how about you yourself? Do you feel stress on the job?
Well, it's a challenging position that I have, and I've got 2 deputy directors that every day is different. We like that about the job. Mm-hmm. You just really never know. We try to plan ahead as much as possible for the flood, some of the expected things, but life can be very unexpected, very surprising, and we manage that as well as we can. As bad of any day that I have at work, that is a bad day. We have to worry about budgets and all sorts of personnel issues. The dispatchers, when they take that call and they don't know if it's going to be something crazy, something tragic, something funny. Unfortunately, there's not that many funny things, but sometimes there is. Due to a lot of training, that's the name of the game with us. We have a training coordinator that does a wonderful job. We emphasize training more than has ever been emphasized at our department. That helps them manage these situations because life and death, they pick up that phone and they're dealing with life and death, minute after minute after minute.
Yeah. How long have you been doing this as a job?
A little over 5 years. I was previously employed with the District Attorney's Office at the Child Advocacy Center. Which has its, sad that there's even a need for that organization, but sure. They do a wonderful job there too also.
Yeah. Now, we have some clips that you sent us from actual 911 calls. I know, Jay, you wanted to play a couple of them.
Sure,
right?
And this one here, actually, discussing is, Kevin, we won't give away the identities or addresses, but you were actually responded to this call that we're about to play.
Yeah, I heard a dispatch. I just happened to be around the corner, and it was dispatched very quickly. The two, a police department and a local fire department, got there very quickly. I just pulled up when they were pulling out with the victim in this case.
All right, we'll play this clip quickly here.
911, what's the address of the emergency?
My daughter is freezing. I just found her outside. I don't know how long she's been out there, but
Okay, is she awake?
No, she's not very. She's cold.
Okay, stay on the phone with me. I'm going to tell you how to do CPR, okay? How old is your daughter?
3.
3?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I don't know.
I'm going to tell you how to give mouth to mouth. Place your hand on her forehead and your other hand under her neck and carefully tilt her head back.
Very dramatic call there, and your expert on the other end of the line was calm, cool, and collected, which I guess is part of the whole deal too, right?
It is. It goes back to training. It's all about training, experience. You know, it comes every time they answer a phone call. They get more and more experience under their belt. But it takes, depending on the person and their background, education, and their aptitude to adapt to that position, because it takes some time. They're not like truly cut loose completely for 5 to 6 months of training. It takes a while because there's so much going on there. I don't know if you've seen photographs or you've been to the 911 center, but they're looking at 6 computer screens all at once while typing, while talking on the radio, talking on the phone.
I can imagine the psychological aspect of this because, again, Kevin, you sent us a few clips that said, do what you can to get rid of the identities and things like that and edit down. So as I was listening to them, this one really hit home, and I wrote something to you the other day about this. Is having a 3-year-old, and with this call, if folks missed, the content of it was really a mother calling 911 to report that her 3-year-old daughter had been left out in the cold for whatever reason that was, and now she was unresponsive. And your dispatcher there, something that I wasn't aware of, started to walk her through some of the process of giving mouth to mouth and trying to resuscitate the child.
Yeah, it's again they bring their A game to every call. We try to balance the seriousness of what their job is and try to keep it as light as possible. Also, they've got a good rapport up there. There's good chemistry with the staff there now, and that helps tremendously too. Because you're in a room with a lot of talking going on, a lot of things happening. One part of the county could be very busy and nothing else is going on the other side. And there's always just something happening, and we'd like to have a good dynamic going on in that room too.
Talking to Kevin Revere, Director of Emergency Services for 911, the call center there. How many operators, do you call them operators? What's the name for?
Public safety telecommunicators.
How many of them are there?
There's 48 positions. We've got some support staff also. So at any given moment, there's usually 8 to 10 on.
What would happen? I suppose it wouldn't happen, but what would happen if you get more calls than they could? Like, what if every one of those technicians was talking to somebody at a given moment? What happens to the call at that moment if you don't have more people on hand?
Well, they've been instructed if it's not an emergency. Some people call up. I think you're going to hear a phone call shortly. You've got to put people on hold.
Right.
Some people call up with some of the very strange requests, and you've got to just say hold on a second and grab that 911 call.
Yeah. Let's play that call.
Here it is.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
Hello, I'm calling the police right now on Time Warner Cable. Time Warner Cable is coming bills and bones and phones and all kinds of crap at people in this nation, especially me. And, I'd really like to tell them that if they don't stop coming to my bills and to my bones and to my deeds and to my phones, then they get a good waking up when I sue them for $85 billion.
Not an emergency, apparently.
No,
An emergency.
And the name again, they're not dispatchers. What did
Public safety telecommunicator.
And the public safety telecommunicator there, as the call went on, she was trying to help this gentleman and say, "Is there an emergency? Can you tell me what is going on? Can you tell me there's an emergency?" And she did the right thing towards the end of the call and got rid of it.
We don't, as a rule, we do not hang up on people. That's one that she would not have gotten in trouble for hanging up on this individual, because all calls like that, all it does is distract us from real emergencies. That's the problem.
Do you know an average call volume for a day?
Roughly about 1,000 calls.
Really?
Yeah.
My
In
goodness.
2014, we took in. We obviously make some phone calls out, but the total of our incoming and outgoing phone calls was 356,000 phone calls.
Wow.
121,000 of those were incoming 911 calls, just in Oneida County. So it's a busy place.
Yep.
Is a certain time of the day or a certain day of the week that is busier than others?
A good question. Yes. Most people would say, oh, it must be Friday or Saturday nights at 10 o'clock at night. It is on school days. right after school lets out.
Really?
Yes, the kids get out of school. If you heard yesterday, if you're listening to your scanner or anything, there were a couple of fights, issues, traffic issues, all sorts of stuff. But we actually have a spike most every school day. It starts about 2:30, 3 o'clock, and kind of tapers off about 5 o'clock or so.
And that's interesting because 5 o'clock. That's 4 to 5 o'clock. That's rush hour. That's when people are getting in and out of the office, going home.
Cocktails too.
Yep.
Yeah. And anything can happen at any moment. Sure. We have crazy times at 3:30 in the morning, but consistent. We plot this out for scheduling purposes, but it's school days is after school is when it gets busy.
Any tips or suggestions for folks needing to call 911 when they do that?
Only do it in an emergency. Oneida County has 211 now, so a lot of questions about. We get phone calls that on a holiday they want to know if garbage is going to be picked up.
Right.
And they don't know who to call because the municipality is probably closed, and those calls need to go to 211, not 911.
Kevin, thanks for coming in. I could listen to you speak all day. You have a great voice. We were talking before you came on the air. Maybe we can put that to use and use you in some voiceovers and stuff like that.
Happy to help.
What a great voice. Kevin, thanks for coming in. I'd like to make it a regular occurrence if you wouldn't mind doing this. This is fascinating stuff. Thanks for sharing the audio with us, too.
Thank you.